You're in your consulting career and about to start a new project with a new client. The client meeting starts in about 10 minutes and your heart is racing and your palms are sweaty and there's a voice in your head saying, they're going to realize you have no idea what you're doing. Does this sound familiar? Whether you're just in the door in consulting or 10 years in, we all still get that feeling. It's not just you. Even partners with decades of experience feel like imposters when they step into a new client environment. Today, we're going to break down why this happens, why it's actually not a bad thing, and how to use this feeling to your advantage instead of letting it derail your confidence. I'm Negar, and welcome to the Consulting Game, where we talk about everything to do with your consulting career, even the parts most people don't discuss. So let's dive in. I started at Accenture with over 10 years experience under my belt. I came in as an experienced hire, feeling confident in the abilities that I built and the skills that I built over the years. Then I landed on this massive program at a finance company as a business analyst. And this was a role that I was really good at. I had loads of experience in this area. But then panic set in. Everyone around me seemed like consulting superheroes. They were amazing, and most of them were half my age. Meanwhile, I felt like I'd accidentally wandered in there with nothing to offer, no superpowers whatsoever. My confidence vanished. I was convinced they'd realize their hiring mistake any day now. I remember thinking my manager put in a meeting in my diary for the following day. And I remember thinking, that's when he's going to come in and he's going to say, we've made a mistake. Sorry about this. There's been a terrible mix up. You were hired by accident. No joke. My senior management team and directors told me I was doing well, but I couldn't absorb any sort of praise, right? It was like trying to catch water with a sieve. The praise just wouldn't stick. I got trapped in my own head and my confidence plummeted to rock bottom. I felt like I didn't know anything. I didn't feel I could get ahead in this role. I always felt behind, and working with a load of high performers just made me feel less than on a daily basis. There was a reality gap here. I need you all to hear this. It was all in my head. I was actually performing well, but I developed this special talent for transforming any feedback, no matter how positive it was, into evidence that I was not doing well and that I didn't belong. So what I would hear from my senior leaders would be, great job on that presentation, Negar. But in my head, I would convert that to, we expected much worse from you. So this barely adequate performance exceeded our rock bottom expectation of you. Honestly, I know it's hilarious, and I know some of you do this as well. In consulting, we don't just sell expertise. We sell confidence, both internally and externally. So here's what's really happening. There are three things that typically happen in our subconscious that sabotage us. And if you don't understand these, you cannot change it. Awareness is the first step to change, my friends. Okay, the first one is pressure builds. Clients expect premium results at a premium rate, which means that we, consultants, put enormous pressure on ourselves to prove our worth and our company's worth. It's like we're carrying this invisible backpack filled with bricks labeled expectations everywhere you go. The next one is we overwork to prove ourselves. We try and prove ourselves internally to our internal organizational leaders, but also externally to our clients. Consultants overwork in the first few weeks, right? When they get into a new project, they overwork. They think that they need to be 10 steps ahead. They stay up till 2 a.m. preparing for like a 9 o'clock meeting where the client just wants to say hello. We try and solve problems before we've even properly listened. to what the client actually needs because we're trying to prove ourselves. The third thing is the self-fulfilling cycle. When we put that pressure on ourselves and we overwork to prove ourselves, it fuels the imposter cycle. Okay? The more you overcompensate, the more you feel like you weren't really prepared in the first place. It's like a hamster wheel that's getting faster and faster, and you just can't keep up with the pressure and expectations you are constantly setting for yourself. These patterns lead to burnout, stress, and overwhelming anxiety. And I want to tell you, the consulting industry faces massive burnout challenges. Attrition rates are higher than normal. They're typically between 15 to 25% annually. And people tend to leave within the first 2 to 3 years. Okay. And as newbies and experienced hires, that's probably even quicker, right? I've seen people leave within weeks. When we're stressed and burned out, our work quality suffers. It is impossible to deliver your best thinking when your brain is functioning on low power. I want you to hear me when I say this. And I really wish someone had told me this earlier. Every consultant feels this way, from partners and directors to managers and analysts. Experienced hires feel it even more acutely. I know this is true because I now coach these people, including senior leaders, who all confide in me the same exact feeling. There's comfort in knowing you're not broken. This is actually a normal part of the consulting experience. And listen to this, Corn Ferry found that 71% of CEOs experience imposter syndrome. Doesn't that make you feel better? Even the people with the big offices and the fancy titles are there thinking, how did I end up here? And when will everyone realize that I'm totally winging it? Our brains go into overdrive and tell us we're the only ones feeling this way. And that's just not true. When you start challenging your brain and saying, do you know what? This is actually normal to feel this way. The grip it has on you, that anxiety, that dread, it starts to melt away. Not completely, but enough so that you can just breathe again. Hey, if you're finding value in this episode, I'd love your support. Take a moment, subscribe or follow this channel or podcast, however you're consuming it. Drop a comment below. Tell me, what career challenges are you dealing with right now? Your input really helps me create content that actually matters to you. Okay, let's get back. Reframing imposter syndrome. So why is this not entirely a bad thing? How can we reframe this experience? The first thing is constant growth. What I love about consulting is that you never get bored. I know some of you are thinking, Negar, I would love a bit of boredom every now and again. Maybe just, a Tuesday where nothing explodes. But deep down, you're ambitious, and a completely predictable day and complete predictability in your work would drive you nuts. It'll drive you nuts within a month. When I look back at my career, I stayed in my consulting career the longest. It was the longest, I suppose, organization that I stayed with. And when I look back on it, is because when I was in industry, I didn't get the exciting work. It wasn't the work that moved the needle. I did less risky stuff that would just bore me and I would leave within a few years. The second thing is confidence compound interest. Every time you overcome a new project challenge or navigate a difficult client situation, or you make a mistake and you overcome it, you build confidence. That compounds exponentially over time. It grows not just when things go well, but especially when they don't. Those recovery moments are where the real growth happens. And actually, they're where the real connection happens with your client when you go through those rough patches. The third thing is accelerated skill building. You constantly develop skills and capabilities that people outside of consulting don't experience at this rate. Everything is intensified and at an exponential rate. I can't tell you my growth in consulting compared to the 10 years before that. Now, when you're going through this feeling of imposter and you're in a project, it might be at the start, it might be the middle, it might be when you're trying to close it, wherever that might be. I want you to use this process that I'm going to give you now. Okay. And it's a 3-step process that any consultant at all levels can use to reset when that dreaded imposter sets in. I call my imposter Bob. You can call yours whatever you want. The first thing is normalize ambiguity. Great consultants don't have all the answers. This took me a while to learn for some reason. They ask great questions and co-create with their clients. Start with that discovery phase, not the solutions. As consultants, we love to jump into the solution. Next time you feel that panic of not knowing, I want you to remind yourself, this is exactly where I should be right now. Ambiguity is okay. If the project wasn't hard and ambiguous, they wouldn't need consultants. Okay, so this will calm your brain down. The second thing is, I want you to redefine delivering value. Okay, delivering value for your clients isn't about having everything figured out on day one. It's about creating clarity for your clients, understanding what value means to them and what wins are meaningful to them. Sometimes the most valuable thing you can do is actually listen to your client and help them articulate what success looks like. Check the real expectations. Before you overwork, ask yourself, what does the client actually expect in week 1 or in this meeting? I find that often it's way less than what we assume. I have so many examples where I would overwork, over prep for a meeting because I was too scared to ask the client what they expected from that meeting. So check the real expectations. I want you to remember you are enough. You do not have to overwork to prove anything. It's not going to serve you and it's not going to serve your client, and you won't end up doing your best work. By the way, I have created a free quiz to help you get really clear on your next career steps. Head over to negarfarah.com/ask. I'll personally review your results and I'll respond to you. This isn't another online quiz where you get generic responses back. It's personalized and customized to your needs. Until next time, this is Negar from the Consulting Game. Remember, every consultant, junior or senior, feels imposter syndrome at times. But understanding this cycle means that you can start to break free from it. If this video resonated, hit like and subscribe or follow for more insights on thriving in consulting. I'll see you in the next one.